Next item?
Next item is citizen participation. Citizens wishing to address the board on agenda and non-agenda items for action can submit a virtual blue card or a blue card here that will be posted at 4 PM on Monday, July 26, 2021, on the district's website at dearbornsschools.org/district/board-of-education or in person by 7:10 PM by submitting a blue card to the board secretary. The board may not be in position to respond to non-agenda items. Therefore, speakers should not participate in immediate response to their comments or questions. For the benefit of all concerned, do not mention the names of students or school district employees. Please keep your comments as brief as possible. The board president reserves the right to limit times. So we do have 7 physical blue cards here, and I believe 1 or 2.
Let's start with
virtual cards.
the in-person.
Okay,
Thanks.
so I'll start with they're not agenda items, they're all non-agenda items. They're addressing the masks in schools.
Okay.
So we'll start with Miss Angie Hamoud, and she would like to address the board on masks in schools of student testing. And student testing.
I guess right now, actually, just because I don't like to be up here, I'm a little confused. Are we gonna wear masks or not wear masks?
It's the
Because-
parent's choice.
Parents' choice. So if I send my kid, they're not gonna get sent home for any other reason
It's the
whatsoever without a
parent's
mask.
choice.
It is a parent's choice.
As
Are
of-
we gonna be testing our athletes
As of
again?
now.
As of now,
As of now. Are we gonna be testing our athletes again for no reason?
do we have Mr. Mashur here to answer that one?
No, I mean, right now,
There's no rules for it right
yeah,
now.
we follow the
MH.
MHSAA rules, so it just depends on whatever they come up
Well,
with.
you guys also put out there a whole shot clinic about 2 months ago before school was even over, saying that they were gonna need vaccinations or they were gonna have to be tested all the time. And then when I called you guys out on it, you took it down later. So you guys said that they were going to need to be tested if they weren't vaccinated. So we would kind of like to know which one it is.
Well, we're waiting for MHSAA to give us
You
guidance
had
as
the
to what it's going to
information
be.
2 months ago, you put it out on your website.
This is a new school year starting.
Yes, I understand that, but it was for this new school year that's starting.
We followed the guidelines of
There were
another,
no guidelines. It was already removed.
Do you have any other comments? I can't tell you about the past. If something changed, apologies. Now
But
we're
it-
just waiting
it
for
is, honestly,
MHSAA.
Don't you think it's a little negligent of our board to do this? And also, we do know that our board are the people who actually are the ones who make the decision, because many school districts in this county, Wayne County, have already said that they're not wearing masks. They're not testing their athletes,
Well, that's what we're talking about tonight. Thank you.
so, nothing.
Next is Mrs. Sarah Ford, and she would like to address the board also on COVID mandates.
It's been a minute since I've talked in front of a bunch of people, but I guess we would like to see the mask mandate lifted at Dearborn Public Schools and for children not to be weekly COVID tested to play sports in the fall. There's multiple studies out there that masks are actually harmful for children. The level of carbon dioxide can go up within 3 minutes of putting a mask on. I've talked to multiple parents, some are here tonight, who have had children come home from school with headaches and fatigue after wearing a mask all day. These masks can grow bacteria, and the children are breathing them in and out throughout the day. Dr. Paul Alexander, a professor of evidence-based medicine at McMaster University in Canada and former COVID pandemic advisor to the president, said that there is no clear evidence that masks are effective, but there are reports and evidence that wearing a mask is potentially harmful. If you buy a box of the blue paper masks, they say right on them, it does not protect against COVID-19 or any other contaminants. So why are we wearing them? Michigan had some of the strictest COVID mandates in the country, but the number of COVID cases continue to rise with mask mandates in place. And as far as weekly COVID testing for athletes, the Michigan High School Athletic Association did away with it on June 22nd. And I don't think it should be put back in place. I have lots of paperwork straight off the FDA website that they've recalled many of the PCR tests because they produce false positive results. It's not just one PCR test, there's multiple. I put it in this packet for you guys. I hope you look at it. So if they're not accurate, I don't think we should be using them on the children. Parents and student choice over mask requirements is not unprecedented in Michigan. There are many school districts across Michigan that are going back to school in the fall without mask mandates. They're leaving it to the students and parents to choose whether or not their child needs to wear a mask. Some of these include Wayne, Westland, Southgate, Wyandotte, and Allen Park. And I'm happy what you said tonight about not mandating the mask, but there's a lot of people say Dearborn is such a big district, but Utica Community Schools, it's the second largest district in the state. They did away with their mask mandates and COVID testing as well. So there's a virtual option for people who wanted it, and the Dearborn Public Schools, the children didn't go to school for an entire year. So our kids would like to go back to school without the burden of wearing a mask and weekly COVID testing. Let it be the choice of parents and students whether they wear a mask or not. We would like the school to go back to some form of normalcy. So I have this little packet for you. I hope you guys read it. It has a list of the schools that got rid of their mask mandates too.
Thank you. Mrs. Ford, we'll pass them around to those that are present. We're also going to scan one of them for those that aren't.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. John Kitivatus, I'm sorry to, he said he does not want to address the board. Okay. Mr. Reagan Ford also wants to address the board on COVID measures for the upcoming school year.
Howdy. Mr. Superintendent, members of the board. You know, I'm a parent. I know most of you up here. My son is going to be a senior this year at Etzel Ford. His freshman year was the last year he had a full school year. It was the last time. We have friends who were seniors last year. Their children were seniors last year. And I know you guys did the best you could under the circumstances. I understand. But I'll be quite frank with you. Nobody learned anything last year, and it was a horrible experience for everybody. Their homecoming was canceled. Their dances were canceled. And then just to chagrin a little more, after all of our events were canceled, we see the greatest event you've ever saw over the weekend just behind our football field. That's a story for another day. But what I'm here to talk about today is we have one of the most well-funded, well-ran schools in the state. We can agree to that. Dr. Malenko, you win an award every week for something. My point is, all of these other school districts are finding ways to get these kids back in schools without masks and return to normalcy in some fashion. It looks like we're looking for excuses to keep it the old way. That's what, and I'm just speaking, that's my opinion. I don't speak for anybody. I don't know if they agree with me or not, but it looks like we're trying to keep the mask on, and we just don't want to do that. My son, my nephew, I should say, my brother's son, last year, they went to school all year. And if there were families concerned about COVID or they had a sickly elderly person in their home and they were concerned about it, they offered online school. And about 25% took them up on it, but everybody else got to move on. And I've seen that in district after district after district after district, but our district, lockdown, no dances, no homecoming, just nothing. And I just don't want to see another senior year. I mean, it ruined, for all accounts and purposes, those kids' senior year, or any year for that matter. And I guess I said my piece. What scares me is the recommendation now is to not force masks, with the key word it could change. So in light of that, I do speak for many families. I can confidently say that we strongly urge you to let that be a choice. Parents' choice. We pay the bills. That's my piece.
Next, blue card.
Mr. President, I'd like to respond if possible.
You want to wait until we're done with these?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Next item, or I'm sorry, next speaker is Miss Barbara, or Mrs. Barbara Nabinger. She would like to address the board on mass choice for our children.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Nabinger. And before I want to read out what I actually wrote at home, because English is not my native language, I would like to just add to what the sir told you guys before. And when he said our children suffered, we moved here during this pandemic. My husband is in the Army, and we're our Army family. My older daughter is 9 years old, and she was not able to make a single friend. She was home. She cried every day wanting to go back to Germany because she was so unhappy. It was so hard. It was heartbreaking. And I just want to point that out, that it was like a depression. And when you bring that up to the teacher and they tell you your child has to learn to be more resilient, you don't know what to say anymore. I just wanted to add that. So I'm a mother, a wife, and an experienced teacher from Europe with my own hesitation on children wearing masks in classroom. My children, ages 6 and 9, are my primary concern, which had led me to speak to all of you this evening. I personally prefer to step in front of my class with the attention drawn from all our faces without any distractions. The personal relationship between students and their teachers starts from the facial expressions. A mask masks the intentional facial recognition needed to establish desired outcomes. You, as a teacher, need to be able to speak to your students. They need to see your face so you can bring a point across. And you also need that from your students. You will sometimes not know what they're trying to tell you, and they will not know what you're trying to tell them if they only see this. It's just how it is. I've been a teacher for 12 years. Last school year, my youngest didn't feel comfortable meeting her kindergarten teacher due to the mask and face shields. She told me, I don't know who this woman is. When she saw her online, she's like, I have never seen her before. I'm like, yes, you met her. She's like, no, I haven't. So we had to pull her out of school. It just didn't work. Younger children are still developing during this time period, and facial expressions are critical to their social learning. My other child constantly complained about the mask being uncomfortable, causing headaches, with dizziness, and bothering her breathing, especially during the warmer season. Bringing that up to the teacher, I was asked if I feed my child the right way, if I give my child enough to drink, and if my child goes to bed in time.
If you could please wrap up your comments.
Yes.
Thanks.
School days here in America are lengthy.
It was
Makes
3 minutes.
over our
Go on.
masks over a short period of time build up sweat bacteria. We've heard that before. As a parent, where is my right to train, develop, and probably raise my children when there is confusion? Anywhere, they don't wear a mask. My children will come home and be like, Mom, why am I not wearing a mask in gymnastics, in church, or in the store, but in school I have to? What am I gonna tell my children when they come home with this question? Where's my reliability when I tell you I don't know? So all we ask is the right to choose, like the Dearborn teachers can choose to get vaccinated, work from home, and parents can elect to have their children conduct remote learning. No one is suggesting not to wear one, but to have the choice to not wear one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Miss Nancy Gillespie. She would like to address the board, saying, is CRT or the 1691 project being taught in our schools? If so, which board members voted it in?
Hi, thank you for allowing me to come tonight. I've been a resident of Dearborn for 78 years, and I'm really distraught over this CRT theory, teaching it, and I'm very extremely upset with this 1619. I want to know if that is being taught in our school systems in Dearborn, or if you're contemplating starting it. And if you are, I want to know which board members voted for it.
Any additional comments before we answer?
Well, I think that's enough, thank you.
That's fine. So I brought up to Dr. Maleko 3 or 4 weeks ago to start getting us information on CRT so that the board could get more informed on it, and that we would want to have a future presentation on it. But there's nothing at this point.
It'll be, gonna be discussed by our instructional cabinet, I believe. Dr. Choko, isn't instructional in the curriculum council, there's been some discussion, but we haven't had any movement on it right now.
Okay, then I have one more thing to say about it, because Dearborn is unique, thank you very much. We have 22 different nationalities just sitting in East Dearborn alone. My neighborhood on the west end has 5 different nationalities sitting on the same block, and we get along quite well. And I think Dearborn has been, over the years, had its small problems maybe, but now we're together. This is a community of many, many different nationalities and many different cultures. And your CRT is going to start to try to point out to anybody that's not white that you are a victim. And we don't need that in our district, where we've got a district that's getting along together. Why do we want to make problems? You know, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed that you're even going to have to bring it up. But we don't need to have more problems in Dearborn. We need to continue on with the good luck that we're having. And the good luck is because there's a lot of people from all different nationalities, including a few different nationalities sitting up here, who are getting along well together. So I ask you to think of that when you start to think about, do we want that in our school system? Because I hate to get active after I've retired, but I would actively pursue anything to stop that from happening in my city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our last physical comment here is from Mr. Mark Menace. He would like to also address the board on masking children.
How y'all doing?
Hello?
Good. I'm Mark Manis. I've been here for 50 years at the city of Dearborn. I'm 50 years old, grew up here, lived here my whole life. Got kids here, 4 kids, go through the school, Dearborn Public Schools. You guys don't change your ways, I'm planning on moving my kids out of your school district. And hopefully, if you don't do what the parents want or the people want, and you only want to listen to the government and not your constituents, not the people that elect you, that's your business. But I plan on moving my kid away if you guys continue with these antics, due to the fact that he hasn't learned anything in a year and a half. Nothing. I have to teach him things, which I love to do, but the part that you're supposed to do has been completely disintegrated. And the unions want to protect you, and I sat here all night, and all you guys talked about was what great things you did. Your meetings up there, you speaking at the school, the graduation. Why don't you talk to my kids, because they haven't learned anything all year. Nothing. They don't know anything history, nothing about science, nothing about math. So I'm really sad that I have to talk with you people. It's very disappointing. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have online comments, so I'll start reading.
Okay.
The comment is from Ms. Jennifer Jabbert. She said, "I read the slides for the back-to-school plan and was pleased to see the recommendation for continued mask wearing in order to protect our students who are not yet eligible to be vaccinated. I urge the board to consider mandatory masks indoor. The protocol worked so well last year. and I don't think that now is the time to take risks. That's the only comment that we do have.
Okay. All right. Did you want to respond?
I just wanted to comment about the notion that our students did not learn anything last year.
Hold on, hold on.
I think you.
If you want to have a conversation, hold on for a second, let
I,
him.
th- I think. I did not say anything yet.
Let's move on. Trustee Moses, let's move on to the next action item.
Absolutely, but I just want to mention that we listened to your comments, and I hope that we would have a civil conversation. We're not going to have a civil conversation. I'm sorry, this is not right.
Next item, please.
You said notion, what notion? You think kids learn last year? They stayed at home.
Ask the
They couldn't even
parents,
leave the
ask the
house.
parents what they learned.
He is a he is a parent.
Action items.
Hold
special
on, we're
consider-
moving on to the next action item at this time. Public participation is through.
Are there any agenda? I'm sorry, sir, you do not have the floor.
Order, please.
We have the right to speak to you.
Special consideration.
And we have gone
item.
through the citizen participation.
We have the right to see you guys have.
Are there any?
And we have the
agenda
right to clear the room.
What do you order? So you had to smack him with a hammer and tell us to shut the hell up. We want to be able to clear the room. And that's the whole shit. You guys voted and we want to do this. And you guys are not even listening to the people.
We do a
That's why we're here. You guys don't listen to the constituents in this room. You don't care about these people here. You don't care about them. You don't care about them.
Did you fill out a blue card?
We have gone through the presentation.
No, I'm not going to shut us up.
We have gone through the presentation. We have gone through the presentation where we talked about what the plans are. The plan is
You guys
to have a recommendation, but no mandate.
think of the kids.
So if you want to have a choice to have your kids come to school without masks, that is your choice. They are welcome to do that.
Just give it a few seconds.
Give us something in writing, so when the teachers come to us, that we have something to show.
The presentation is going to be online so that the teachers know what the district's position is.
Go back to work in the classroom and stop working from home.
And they need us.
Stop being lazy.
You
give them extra money to
stay home and teach the kids.
Give them in school.
Give them K-95.
We're gonna go to a 5-minute recess at this time. All right, we are ready to reconvene the meeting.
Convenient for him.
Sorry, we had a slight delay due to some technical issues. One piece of information that was asked about during citizen participation, we did some research and already have an answer, and it's about athletics. Dr. Maleko, do you want to
Sure.
mention that one?
There is currently no requirements for testing for athletics, so we don't have any plans to do so. Again, everything's subject to change, but like we said, next year's a new school year. Last year, we were required to do it, and we followed through with that, but at this point in time, there is no requirement, so, thank you.
Next item, please.
Action items, special consideration of an action item. Are there any agenda items on this agenda which board members or the superintendent wish to discuss and vote on separately? If there are, we will exclude these from the motion below. I have a question about number 4, as well as number 7. And
Just
the-
questions, but not pull them.
Pulling for number 7. Yeah, just pulling for number 7.
And a question on 4.
And a question on 4 and also on 6, please.
Any additional questions? There was one clarification for action item number 2. And we'll go through that in
Okay.
a minute. If there's no others, if you can go ahead and read the action item.
Move that action items numbered 1 through 18 to be approved as recommended in this agenda, with the exception of number 7.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All right, we had a motion by trustee Petlicoff, support by trustee Moses. For action item number 2, there was a typo.
What's the correction?
So the corrected is in the second paragraph. It says a blanket order to 3 courts was previously approved by the Board of Education at the September 8, 2020 meeting in the amount of, it says 20,000. It was supposed to say 70,000.
Oh, that's a typo.
Trustee Moses, if you want to go ahead with your questions on items 4 and 6.
Yes, on item 4, so I understand that we're renewing our contract with Zoom for the video conferencing, but do we need that many licenses since we're expecting many students who are in person? Can we change the number of licenses?
I'm going to ask, I think Mr. Addy is here and, I don't know, Mr. Wall? I think Mr. Addy's,
He was earlier.
or he was. Oh, there he is,
Yeah, Mr. Wall's over here.
I think, I'll just add and then I'll let him speak, but I know one of the things too is, Zoom has just become part of our operation. And it's something that in the pandemic, we moved on. And so we felt like I could just speak from Cabin and I'll let him speak at the specifics, is that it's something we don't want to see go away again because conditions can change. But it's still useful, like we were using Zoom prior to the pandemic, to be honest, for certain things. And we found use of it for instruction and other purposes. But as far as the specific license, I'll let Mr. Addy speak to that.
Sure, the number of licenses
Near
that we have, the number of licenses that we have is for our staff so that they would be able to conduct sessions if they need to, or attend virtual staff meetings, or do any remote conferencing as well like that too. Zoom is a very secure option for staff and students to be able to use, and that's why we looked at using that for the upcoming year.
Trustee Petlicoff?
Then is this because it's a not to exceed number, but is this just going to be one bulk kind of purchase as opposed to we're going to use it as needed, basically?
Correct, this is a bulk purchase.
Any additional questions on this action item? All right,
No
trustee
questions.
Moses, you want to go on to number 6?
Yep, number 6, so this is obviously a major contract for our emergency systems. And I would like to know, in a hindsight, if we would look at those additions from before. I know we had some additions and some deletions, which will save us money in return of those deletions or things that are not needed to do these. But looking in hindsight, should we have done the research prior to the execution of the contract and not do that in retrospective?
The only thing, if I can speak to, because I know some of the history with that, and then I'll let the gentleman speak because they have more of the specifics. And I can speak as a building principal going back to the 2002 bond. It is and I went through it where you're going through every room. It is a rigorous process with a district our size, and it's a huge situation. So as a principal, I know going through the rooms where you may say, oh, the monitor is over here, and then you look for the standardization. And when you actually get in under the estimate, and again, we're such a large district, that changes were made, I think, even in the 2002 bond because of those factors. And part of it, too, is you're trying to standardize. This was needed because of the outdated technology. And again, we were able to fund this, and thanks to the board for using responsibly through the general fund without a bond. But it's a major shift and something we need for student safety. But I recognize what you're saying, Trustee Moses. I would just say that in my experience, having gone through it before and knowing it's a very complicated process, and, you know, you're looking at the speed of getting it done. But I agree, you know, you're trying to be as accurate as you can, and we can always look to improve that in the future. I'll let the gentleman speak.
Sure, I can speak to this, as this is a new project that I have taken on since becoming the Director of Technology. One of the things that happened with the initial bid is we were looking at the rooms, and over time, rooms have changed for use as more classrooms have been expanded from the initial blueprints. So in identifying those areas, when additional walkthroughs have gone on, we've looked at, this is now a classroom, this is now another location where students might be. We also looked at the visibility of some of the old placements as well too, to make sure that with the emergency notification system, students would have access to be notified in the event of an emergency. That's why there's the additional changes that are in this change order.
And with safety security too, for example, like entry points and things, when we do the bid, sometimes we find that there's another reason to have a little more security or access with the card, so that would be another aspect. And I know Mr. Addy kind of inherited this as he came in, but it was a lot of work in the previous director, and so hopefully that answers. This is something though that's high demand that we need, and I know they've been working hard on it.
Additional questions? Or does that answer it?
Yeah, one additional question is, on those amounts, how do we know that these things cost this much for the additions? So I see some additions with different amounts. So how do we price those items?
I'll come back up here again. I guess one of the things that I wanted to say is when we look at where the location is, what type of technology is being placed in the area and the vantage point, if there's additional wiring that needs to take place with drops as well too. Where there might be some locations where there are drops, there are others where we need to install them and add additional wiring so that they'd be able to connect.
Okay. And when do we expect this project to finish?
Turn that over to you, John.
We just had a meeting. We have bi-weekly meetings. The last one was last Wednesday. That was one of the questions, and the contractor is still on track to have it completed by the end of this calendar year.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. All right, if there's no additional questions, if we can have a roll call vote?
Yep. Trustee Barry. Trustee D'Ambrosio.
Yes.
Trustee McDonald. Yes. Trustee Mazub, yes. Trustee Petlicoff.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
President Thorpe.
Yes.
Now, action item 7, or I'll read the summary for the approved agenda items.
Why don't you go to number 7 first
Sure,
and then do it all
yeah,
at once,
let's
thanks.
do that. So the action item for this is to move the Board of Education authorize the administration to award A-Land Construction a contract for the 2021-2022 school year in the amount not to exceed $150,000 for concrete maintenance.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we've got motion by trustee Petlicoff, support by trustee D'Ambrosio. What is your questions or
My
comments?
question on this item, and I'm sorry, Tom and Dr. Maleko, I didn't get to you on this item, but the bids are very far out, and we don't have that many. And I know we raised this issue of how do we get more bids in order to get more competitive? And this is concrete maintenance, so I would think that this is highly lucrative. So why we didn't get much bids on this contract?
From talking to one of our contractors that bid on it last year and why they didn't bid on it this year is it's the labor force out there. They just can't find the work. We're a big district, and since we weren't able to do this maintenance last year due to COVID, we have a lot of work this year, and the contractor just didn't want to take something on that he knew that he wasn't going to be able to do for us because he'd like to do work for us in the future. That's what that was his answer for us. But when we looked at this bid, on average, we looked at the past 2 years that we bid. And most of the line items went up 25%. But however, the 4-inch removal and replace, that only went up 10%, and that's going to be 90% of this work that we're going to be doing. So that's why we felt comfortable moving forward with this bid. 10% in today's market is fair for an increase from last year to this year.
I have a question on
Yes.
this one as well. Just the difference between the two bids in every single area, what accounts for that?
It comes down to, again, just the availability of our contractors. We're having national labor shortages and national, even material shortages, like we're struggling with our, as we put in board briefs. Right now, the turf going in at Etzel Ford, I'm happy that we're hoping to have that started, the installment this week. And that was due to labor and material shortage. We couldn't get the turf there in time. And the contractor was having a hard time getting enough labor
Okay.
force.
So it had nothing to do with the way that it was bid, like
No.
how someone, you know.
It has to do with if they wanted to allocate their work to us, we were gonna have to pay a premium.
Okay. Well, then I'm glad we got a reasonable bid, it seems at least.
Yeah, we've done work with Elan in the past. They've done great work with us. That's another reason why we were comfortable moving forward. They didn't win the bid last year. They were just edged out by Luigi. But Elan did the work 2 years before that, and they've done work for us prior years, and they've done good work. So that's, again, another factor that went into why we felt comfortable moving forward with this.
Thank you.
Trustee Pelichkov?
Well, and I will say, because my husband was in commercial construction, and sometimes when bids are so disparate, sometimes it means that the contractor really doesn't want the job, so he goes way high in order to know that
Right.
he's not, but to keep his name in play for
Right.
next time.
Any additional questions?
I just hope we would advertise it even more so we can get more bidders.
Well, they
I
had
mean, that's
63 review the bid,
But
so.
I mean, I'm really
Yeah.
happy with the contractor, it just, we need more competition.
You were hoping for more bids after
Absolutely.
63.
We always
bids.
have.
Yeah.
And if I could just comment that we'll continue to do that. I do know, and, the shortages out there because of COVID and coming out in the workforce, and I'm hearing it all over the place, for homes too, and contractors. And I talked to someone that I know, and they're trying to get some work done in their home, and they can't get it done, and it's triple the price, this kind of thing right now.
I
But-
can't get a
but I get it.
landscape person to come and help me out, so.
Yeah. So, but we'll continue to work on that, of course.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Barry, trustee D'Ambrosio,
Yes.
trustee McDonald,
Yes,
trustee Mazurk, yes, trustee Petlicoff,
Yes,
trustee Watts,
Yes.
President Thor.
Yes. Motion carries. If you can go ahead and do the summary then.
Summary of agenda items that were approved. 1, approval of warrants. 2, approval of award to 3 chords. 3, approval of award to Discovery Education. 4, approval of award to Zoom Video Communications. 5, approval of award to Heinemann. Approval of award to Digital Age Technologies. 7, approval of award to A-Land Construction. 8 to 9, approval of change of orders to Macomb Mechanical. 10 to 13, approval of non-instructional and instructional personnel items for P12. 14, approval of HFC staff recommendations. 15, approval of donations. 16, approval of appointment of principal at Duval Elementary School. 17, approval of appointment of principal at Stout Middle School. 18, approval of appointment of principal at Woodworth Middle School.
So I would like to congratulate and first call up Miss Mary Timpf, who is the new principal at Duval. Congratulations. Very excited to have her, and I actually got hired the same year as teachers at Salina 97 in this district.
Oh, you didn't have to say the year. Thank you, Dr. Maleko, President Thorpe, and all of the trustees. Thank you for entrusting all of the Duval children in my care. I'm excited to meet each and every child, staff member, and parent, and I look forward to a great year. I'd like to thank our school district. We have great programs that help mentor us, such as the Aspiring Administrators and the internship program, and great mentors. So if I could, take a moment to thank Lamise Saror, Dr. Chokol, Shannon Peterson, Zach Short, who allow me to have them on my speed dial so I can call them at any time. And I'm sure Mr. Addy will be joining on my speed dial as well. So thank you. I look forward to meeting all of the community members of Duval, and I'm excited to be a Penguin. Thank you.
And I'm a former Penguin as well, so we made sure we were going to get a great principal over there. I know the rule, what do we say, no Toronto Maple Leafs being hung in the school. She agreed, so we're Red Wing fans here.
I've seen,
I know Mr. Addy may not like that, but
Yeah, he's shaking his head.
he's a former Duval principal.
Dr. Maleko,
Oh, yes.
I've had the pleasure to see Ms. Tim Fett work at Park Elementary when she was instructional coach. She was just an amazing instructor there. So Duval is very, very lucky to have her. Agreed.
So we have more. We have Miss Hiva Abdulbaki, who is the new principal at Stout. I guess I have to mention too, we're very excited to have you go to Stout, but I do have a Salina connection here. I was principal at Salina when she was a teacher, and she does outstanding work as well. So congratulations, and go ahead.
Thank you,
We're
Dr.
excited to
Maleko.
have
Thank you, President Thorpe and trustees and Dr. Jill Chokol and Shannon Peterson, the entire executive cabinet. A little background about myself. I've been in this district for 20 years. I started off as a first grade teacher at Miller Elementary, then taught fourth and fifth grade at Salina Intermediate, and then taught a good decade at Salina Intermediate, both in the science and language arts, worked with mainstream and English language learners. Then I've been blessed to be the 12th grade assistant principal at Fortson High School for the past 5 years. I worked under the leadership of Guru Hiam Al-Kadri and an amazing administrative team there, very dedicated staff that I really learned a lot from. And now I'm really, really excited to go to become a Falcon at Stout and work with the dedicated staff and hardworking students and the supportive parents. So I'm really excited to be a Falcon, and I really appreciate you entrusting me and giving me the opportunity to lead. Thank you.
And we have Miss Nicole Rayback, who is the new principal at Woodworth Middle School. She was a former middle school teacher at Woodworth as well. So congratulations, Nicole.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Dr. Maleko, school board trustees, executive leadership team, and my parents and family. I've had the opportunity to serve in our wonderful district for the past 13 years. I started my career as a high school mathematics teacher at Fortson. I continued my career on to Woodworth Middle School as a resource and interventionist. From there, I became an instructional coach for both Bryant and Smith Middle Schools, an admin intern at Henry Ford Elementary School, a assistant principal at William Ford Elementary School and Miller Elementary School, as well as the acting principal at Gear Park at the end of this year, which I was excited about that opportunity as well. My passion for Dearborn Public Schools is deeply rooted in my love and admiration for the students, the parents, the amazing teachers, and also the entire Dearborn community. I can tell you that serving as a principal is the highest honor, and I will work tirelessly to ensure that I'm providing the support that all need to be successful. And on top of that, continue the legacy of high levels of learning for all students at Woodworth Middle School. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm excited to start building strong partnerships again with all my teachers, students, and parents over at Woodworth and the community as well. So thank you.
I also see, I know Mary and Hiba have some family members. I think their spouses here too, so we're glad to see them. Fine gentlemen I've known over the years. So I also have one more, which is in the normal HR. It's on the non-instructional. And so Nicole and I don't have a Salina connection, but the next one, Mr. Sean Donahue, I just got to say it, there's a connection tonight. He's here, and I worked with him years ago as the building operations supervisor, and he was the current engineer here at ASC, and congratulations. He is replacing Mr. Gary Shelby, as the new Assistant Director of Operations. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Maleko. I'd just like to thank Dr. Maleko, all the members of the board, all the members of the interview committee. I look forward to serving the students, you know, our biggest customers, the parents and staff at Dearborn Schools. I've been around for 30-plus years, and I hope I'm around another 30. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to our new appointees. We know you will do well. Next item, please.
President Thorpe,
yes.
if I may comment, as well, Ms. Abdabaki, I've had a lot of work with her at Salina, so really amazed to see her work at Fordson as well. And I would also think that, believe that the staff would be very, very lucky to have her. And this is the program that we have in Dearborn schools where teachers and employees can grow to higher roles. And if for all of the employees out there, if you would like to see yourself in administrative roles or higher ups, you can always ask. There's an intern program that's coming back for our employees that I would highly recommend. So I'm really glad to see that today, that we're rewarding our employees to grow and stay at Dearborn schools.
Yes.
So I want to add something on that. I appreciate that, Trustee Moses. We cut it last year because of budgetary reasons when we were going through the pandemic, but we are reinstituting the intern. And some of the trustees who are on the board might remember my first 2 to 3 years as superintendent, we had a huge hiring of administrative turnover. We're now in the point where we do have, you know, we've had some retirements and other things. And so we do have to kind of revamp that process, and that's where we're at right now. So I also want, on top of the intern program, we currently have 7 vacancies for assistant principal positions that we obviously take internal and external candidates. So we hope to have most of those appointments done by the August board meeting. And the reason we do it this way, and I appreciate the board helping with the schedule, I think we changed it a few years ago, was to get this July meeting to try to get the principals appointed, and that's why we moved it to the end of the July. And then we switched with the college, and I know my colleague and wonderful President Cavalunas here, appreciate the work he's doing over there. We swapped, so you'll actually have the college meeting earlier in August so that it helps his staffing as he comes back, and it helps our staffing as we come back. So appreciate, you know, the college and the P12 working together on that, but there are positions available, and there's going to be, our HR department has been really working hard this year, and so more to come. So thank you. I wanted to, you know, point that out, and it is a positive as people develop and move through.